Alright guys, let's shut this off. It's noisy by the interstate, it's windy, 45 miles an hour, but before I get to the inverter, I want to point out this. This is less than $5, you guys. It's a bath mat. It's like $4.68 at Walmart or something like that, but Al, whose username is Helzo, and Kamar, and I were having breakfast this morning, and he mentioned that for the water, you know, when it's snowy and nasty out, and then he just kind of folds it up and puts it aside, and that way it keeps his floor dry and a little bit cleaner. So thanks, dude. So I've got an absolute mess right now in my truck, you guys. It's a disaster. I've got quite a bit to work on here. Let me get my boots off. Yeah, my truck is actually more of a disaster than I can recall. Now, you guys will see some wood back there. I'm going to talk about that later, probably in the next video. But in this video, we're going to talk about this guy. This is the Jupiter pure sine wave inverter, 2000 watts. I've still got to get it sorted and situated. That's my fragile Christmas blanket back there. And then here's the old inverter, the old Temu or Dollar Tree inverter that Prime puts in here, the Tundra M2000 modified sine wave, and that's the new one there. So it is Brian BCH. I owe you a huge thank you. System normal. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay, welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back. I really appreciate you all being patient with me. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe. I think like 40% who watch these videos are not yet subscribed. So if you haven't yet done so, subscribe. Try to do regular content. It's going to become very regular. Cool stuff is happening on this truck that's going to make some cool stuff possible. I'm finally going to be doing some editing, and I'll be able to do some really cool live streams and stuff like that from my actual computer using my full setup. A couple days away from that, but we're getting there. My truck is absolutely trashed right now. I have more stuff on my truck than I've ever had, and that makes me currently very uncomfortable. But anyway, getting everybody caught up before we get into all that and the inverter talk and all that. I've been home for 30 days. For a month was awesome. It was, I had some just incredible, amazing time with my son. Like just, you know, that I wouldn't trade for the world. And I take a lot of flack sometimes for taking so much time off, but man, I have a 3-year-old at home, and, you know, even running a month and then going home for a month means that I'm still missing half of his life. I'm still missing half of his life. So me being home, to me, for a month is not enough. It's not enough. But I had some really, really good time with my son. My wife was planning for Thanksgiving, and we hosted a whole lot of family. So there were multiple days where I just got to take him into town and take him to, you know, just do odds and ends, and sometimes just go push around a cart and look at baby chickens at the Tractor Supply and stuff like that, you know. It was just good, solid, logging good time with my son and my family, my dogs, that stupid cat. And I was able to finish most of my patio and my deck. I still got to put a roof on. but I've got all I have to do is put the actual roof on top. I've got all the framing, all the 2x6s up. I busted the living hell out of my eye. It's healed up because this happened on like the 3rd day home, but I probably should have gotten stitches. There's going to be quite a scar. It's about 1 inch long right here because I got hit by a 12-foot 2x6 that was about 12 feet up. That because I was doing all this by myself. So I had put only a 2.5 inch screw in the center of this 12-foot beam so that I could situate the ladders on the 2 ends of it. And when I got over to the other end, that 2.5 inch screw let go and the board just came down and the corner of that board caught me. 12-foot 2x6. Boy, it ripped me open. I was bleeding. There was blood all over my deck. And Jenna was, she's like, you got to go get stitches. Like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Just, glue it up or whatever you got to do. I'm not going to get stitches. I got stuff to do. So anyway, now we're caught up on all that. To the inverter. And by the way, it is miserable. It is November 29th, and it is just miserable. And I'm not even in the snow. I'm getting ready to leave here shortly, but I'm in Springfield, and it's there's 45 mile per hour winds and sideways rain, and it's supposed to drop down to like 20 degrees tonight. And it's just miserable, man. But, if I get up there in the snow in the next couple days, I'll probably wish I had this. But I was planning on, I went and talked to the shop at Springfield just to make sure I was doing all the process right for swapping out this inverter. And I was planning on getting down into the battery bank and disconnecting the positive line for the inverter from the battery bank and just kill all that power so that I could swap the inverter out, because Prime will not put a third-party inverter in your truck. And I don't want to go pay a truck stop to do it. Now, when these trucks were newer, I had to. The Peterbilt, he had to pay to have his third-party inverter installed because you had to have a paper trail for the warranty. But that's no longer an issue with this truck. So I was able to, I can just swap it myself. Plus, I know quite a few people who have. Brian, BCH Transport being one of them. And man, I got down there in that battery bank and the wind, because I had my steps on the side of mine, they normally have this these two metal lines that you can open the steps up and they'll kind of hold back on those two lines. Those two lines don't. They're broken. So I have to take all the steps off, which is not really that big of a deal unless there's 45 mile per hour wind, because then that giant thing of steps, Freightliner steps, becomes a kite or a parachute or whatever you want to call it. Wind sail, you name it. Man, it was a battle. And then on the back of my battery bank, because I don't have a battery cutoff switch, by the way. So before any of you thinking, well, why didn't you just hit the cutoff switch? I don't have a cutoff switch on my truck. It's a COVID truck, doesn't have a cutoff switch. So anytime I need to reset and everything, I got to go down and disconnect the batteries. Well, there's this long metal plate that Prime or somebody installs back on all the positives on the back row on the battery bank. So in order to disconnect the positive for the inverter, you've got to disconnect the other positives to get that plate up high enough so that you can take the positive line off the battery bank for the inverter line. So I was out there in sideways wind, and I was like, oh my God, man, this is horrible, but I have to do it because it's winter. It's not going to be a better time, and I need to use my inverter. So I used the phone a friend, because Brian has this same inverter. He's got a Peterbilt, but he has the same inverter. Jim in my Peterbilt has the same inverter. I know Catfish, he's got it. I think Al might have this inverter. Helzo is his username. So I think I know like 6 guys who have this inverter. And but Brian is the one who pretty much started us all on it. He's like, go to Harbor Freight, get the warranty, because you can basically just go in and replace it at the end of its life, and go to Harbor Freight and get it. So that's what I did, because they all swear by it too. And so just so you guys know, if you're having inverter problems, like it's starting to chirp at you and all that stuff, when you try to use a water heater or something that's 1,000 watts, air fryer, whatever it might be, and you're a Prime driver and you've got that Temu, Dollar Tree, cheap Tundra, which it's like, man, Prime, y'all gotta like just spend an extra $50 or $75 or whatever it is. Like, come on, man. Those inverters are the worst inverters. You're selling us $200,000 trucks. This one was only $160,000, but you get what I'm saying. Now you're selling us $200,000 trucks. You can put a $250 inverter in here. I think I got mine on sale. Brian also, by the way, sent me he sent me I think it was like 15% off any item, 1 day sale or 2 day sale or something like that for Harbor Freight. And that's when I went and got this inverter. I was like, okay, well, 15% off. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. I think it ended up being like 40 or 45 bucks off. But I couldn't even run my water boiler, which is I use for my coffee. And that's only 700 watts. So I gotta have nothing else running, and my water boiler would screw up, would set off the fault on the Tundra inverter. Definitely couldn't run an air fryer, even though I have an air fryer. Especially, I got a new one that's pretty low. I think it's like 1,050. So I'm hoping that helps too. But definitely not an air fryer. But I couldn't even run a 700 watt appliance. Now, granted, a water boiler is it's the 700 watts like immediately. It's instantly goes super hot. But still, and 2,000 watt inverter, I think it's 1,800 watts that you're actually going to get out of it, allegedly, should have no problems with a 700 watt water boiler. But it can't do it. It can't do it. And I just got sick of it. Like, I just need to be able to do some basic things. I don't use a lot of power in this truck, but I need to not have to boil my water or get my water hot in 2 separate occasions after resetting the damn inverter and all that. And all these other guys that have this inverter had the same problem with the Tundra modified sine wave. Now, here's another thing here's 2 things that are really important for all of you who are on these modified sine wave inverters. They're very bad for your electronics. I'm certain that this Tundra has fried 2 of my Wi-Fi routers. Certain of it. Absolutely certain. I'm now on my 3rd T-Mobile home internet router, and what I've started doing is not running it while I'm driving. So, I'll now this is on the Temu or the Prime Tundra inverter. Like, I'm so leery about it because I've had 2. Now, the first one T-Mobile didn't want me to send back. The second one, I said, hey, can you guys take a look at this? And so I sent it, and then I got a message from some tech support person at T-Mobile that said that there was some sort of something happened where it got, like it was a short or so, I can't remember how they described it, but it's like, okay, well, clearly that inverter Prime's putting in the truck screwed up my electronics. So there's no way I'm putting my Mac desktop, there's no way I'm running that off of that inverter. Not going to happen. No way. So you need to know that modified sine wave can be very damaging for your sensitive electronics. Just know that, okay? You're taking a risk. And I want to be able to have Wi-Fi while I'm going down the road because my Garmin and everything runs off Wi-Fi. That's how I get my weather overlays on Garmin, which I've got the 10-inch Garmin now, and it is dope. Love having it. Thank you, Paul. I bought that from Paul for, I think he sold it to me for 150 bucks. It's the OTR, Garmin Diesel OTR 1010. And he now has the 1020, but the 1010, he sold to me for 150 bucks, and I'm stoked with it. Love it. But I need to get my weather overlays, and so I need to have Wi-Fi at all times in a truck. And And so I just had it. You know, it was just time to put the Jupiter inverter in here. The second thing that I'll note on that modified, so I have this really nice APC, the higher end APC backup battery. You know, a surge protector, and it's got like it's like this big ass backup battery, right? And it's one of the more higher end ones, and it gives me readouts, and it's like monitoring conditions, and in the app I can go and like see everything, you know, the conditions of the incoming power and the output and all that. It's giving me all the readings and all the data and everything. So I brought that out into the truck on the Temu Dollar Tree Prime Tundra modified sine inverter, plugged it in, and it wouldn't even draw power. And the alert said that the building, because it doesn't think it's attached to it or plugged in a truck, it thinks it's plugged into a wall of a building. It said there were a couple different things it was saying, but it was basically like bad wiring, bad building wiring, not consistent current, and there was like 3 or 4 things it was telling me. And so it refused to accept the current from that inverter to the APC backup battery. So clearly it's bad. It's a bad circuit, okay, that's coming out of that. So just know that whatever you plug into that, plug in at your own risk. So now that I have this one, I've plugged in the APC backup battery, runs just fine, no faults, no alerts. I've run my 700 watt water boiler, did that about 15 minutes ago. No problem. Never any chirps, didn't get hot, none of that. So, I don't know, take it for what you will, but everybody I know who's had that problem with the Tundra 2000 watt modified sine inverter, inverter has had the same problems that I was having. And a lot of these guys keep going and getting new batteries, because some of these techs out there will tell you it's bad batteries, just get your batteries replaced. Even though they might test out with the right voltage, get your battery. Yeah, you need new batteries. No, it's not the batteries. I would bet you anything, if you have this inverter, the Tundra inverter, and you're constantly, it's getting hot and faulting out and giving you the alarms and all that, it's probably because it's just a bad circuit and it overheats really quick on not even half of what it's supposed to be outputting. So, the Jupiter seems to have solved that. Now, it is going to be a little bit harsher on your batteries, for sure. Although my batteries are, right now my APU is not running. So, I've got I got my batteries, these 4 batteries I got at the beginning of this year. So I'll probably have to replace them after the winter. And I'm going to be going for some going a little bit hard on some upgraded batteries next year. But just know that, pure sine on the 2000 watts is going to can be pretty harsh on your batteries. But I need to be able to operate and live out here, So getting back to the beginning of phoning a friend, when I didn't want to take that plate off out there in a 45 mile per hour gust and a sideways rain and get all those positives off. So I texted Brian and I'm like, hey, walk me through what was your process because I know he did it himself too. And he's the one who was like, yeah, just do it yourself, man. It's no big deal. I don't like doing anything with electric. I'll get my hands dirty on damn near anything, but electric, I'm pretty, I check out, I'm just not, I'm not, I don't know electricity, and I don't try to know, and I don't want to know. But I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So anyway, I'm asking him, and he said his battery cutoff switch wasn't working at the time, so he just did it hot. He just swapped it out hot. Now, please know, I'm not in any way recommending this to any of you, so don't take this as advice. This may be really bad advice. This may not be good consultation. I'm just telling you what he did, and it worked for him, and what I did, and it worked for me. Not to say that I wasn't extremely paranoid the entire time, because I most certainly was. But he tells me, he's like, yeah, man, because of my cutoff switch problem and all that, I just did it hot. I just swapped them out hot. he said, he said, I took the negative off, put a leather glove over it, and then took the positive off, put a leather glove over it so that the two can't touch. Because dealing with them hot, as long as they don't touch each other, there's not going to be any, you're not going to get zapped or anything like that. And then going back, he put the, let's see, negative off, then positive on, negative on. Yeah. And it does all this hot. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, my God, man, it's a lot of voltage. It's a pretty good current going through there, right? So it's either I do it that way, like we just go hot, or get down underneath there and take off all those positives, take off that plate and pull all those positives off so I can get the inverter positive off. And I opted to do it, to go live. Like, fuck it, we'll go live, So I got them off. I was so paranoid, man. I had a glove over both of them and a cup. Or no, a glove and a sock. I put a sock over them first and then a glove over them. Just so paranoid because I didn't want to short my lines out and blow a fuse or anything like that, So finally I get the positive on the new one, and then I basically blanked and didn't think about the fact that when you get the negative back onto the inverter, it's going to create that loop, right? And boy, it shot some sparks in my truck. I fell back and landed on up against the vents on the front dash over here in the passenger side. I thought for sure I just got electrocuted because it just didn't dawn on me at the time that, yeah, it's going to do that. It's going to throw sparks when you slap that negative on there. But I thought, that all hell was breaking loose. But anyway, got it all bolted down nice and tight. It's on. It's running normally. Everything's good. And we're going to move on to different things because I've got lots of things to do in this truck. It's an absolute mess. It's going to be hours before I get everything I need to do. I unfortunately yesterday, when I parked and was trying to catch the last quarter of the Bears-Eagles game, which Bears, dude, Chicago Bears, you guys. I'm just trying to find some zen right now. I'm trying to be positive because I'm a Chicago sports fan, which means that I'm kind of naturally, organically pessimistic. But there's a lot of stuff to be optimistic about with the Bears. But anyway, tried to turn the last quarter of the Bears game on, and my TV that's back in a sleeper, which I don't use that much, but for sports and stuff like that, like especially NFL Bears, I like to have game on when I'm doing other stuff, just playing in the background. And at some point in the drive yesterday, I assume it was yesterday, the whole TV just started losing its pixels. I mean, it was like just streak of screwed up pixels. So my TV just took a shit yesterday, which that TV is years old. So I'm not, and it's like a $120 TV, so wasn't heartbroken about it. And it happened at a great time because yesterday was Black Friday. So I did not want to leave yesterday and go to Walmart, but I went this morning and they still had some great sales. I ended up getting a really nice LG 32-inch for it was normally $149 or something like that. I got it for $120 or $100. No, I got it for $100. $99. That's right. I think it was normally like $139 and I got it for $99. So I was stoked. They had, on the 32 inches, they're anything between $88 and $139. So to get what would have been the top price for a 32 at Walmart for $99, I was pretty stoked about it. So I had to do that. I got that done today, got that swapped out, got the old one thrown away and dealt with. Now I got to work on this desk, which you guys saw the wooden legs. I will show you that in the next video because pretty cool stuff, especially when you see the top of it. I've got this new fridge here that I need to get moved back up. This thing's awesome, dual zone, much better than the one that I had. And just some other odds and ends. You know, I've got, man, even, where are these things? Oh, well, I had to actually buy, well, I'll tell you in future videos. Lots to update you guys on. That's enough for now. I just want to let you guys know that the inverter's in. If it doesn't mess with your warranty or anything like that, and as long as you have the right gauge wire. Now, if you think that you're going to go, you know, do your own inverter swap, just make sure that you've got the right gauge of wire. Mine already had the right gauge for 2,000 watts because it already had a 2,000 watt inverter, so it had the 2-inch or whatever. I don't know if it's 2-inch, but number 2, I think it is number 2 gauge. Anyway, mine already had the right gauge of wires in here, so I didn't have to worry about that. But if you're going from a really small one to, you know, 2,000 watt or the gauge that I have for this 2,000 watt, you can't use for like a 3,500 or a 4,000 watt. So make sure that you do your research and know what you're going to do, and don't take advice from me. But the only thing that I'm going to say is that it's not as scary as it sounds. As long as you do your research, reach out to people who've done it, ask them their process, make sure you understand what you're getting into. It's not too scary. It seemed a lot bigger of a deal than it ended up being for me to swap the inverter out. So, all right, guys, good to be back. I got to get out of here. More videos to come. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive to thrive. I'll talk to y'all soon.